What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do?
My name is Dan, or Transit22. I'm a hip-hop artist from Calgary, Alberta, and also run a youth hip-hop program at the Boys and Girls Club in Calgary as well.
I'm Tasha the Amazon. Just got here from Toronto. I'm a rapper, producer, artist of all kinds. And yeah, that's what I do.
My name is Andrew Sannie. Andrew O is my rap name. I'm from here, Winnipeg. I'm in a hip-hop group called the Lytics.
My name's Carmen Amiso. They call me Hellnback. What's up, y'all? Thanks for coming out. Been doing rap for like ever, so you'll know more if you don't know already. So what's up? Nice to meet y'all.
Okay, we're going to keep things rolling nice and quick. Just going to go back in reverse order and ask you guys to define success in your career. What does that mean to you? And I guess that's just as simple as it is. Just what is success in your definition?
This way? Yeah. Okay, wow. Success to me is just making sure my kids and my wife are happy. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of definitions of success to different people, but I mean, I've been doing this for so long, so like I'm actual proof that, you know, you can make life out of hip hop and hip hop your whole life force. You know, I mean, I've done side jobs and stuff from time to time, but just to be even up here and be able to share my thoughts and respected in that sense is really dope. That's success too. You know, you got to take the little successes and bunch them all together and pat yourself on the back sometime, but keep on working though. You know.
Yeah, I feel like I fall in and out of success all the time, and a lot of that depends on happiness, right? There's some days, if I'm talking music, we aren't really doing much, and I feel like we've done a lot, right? And there's other days I feel like we're doing tons, we're touring, and I'm just like, this isn't enough. So, yeah, I think it's perspective a lot of times, but all sort of depends on your happiness, where you are mentally. Yeah, I'm every day sort of striving for a better place, and I don't know if I answered that, but I'm gonna run with that. That's my answer.
All right. I think success for me is like a bunch of things that you can't really measure. Starting with impact, I think, like, you know, all of us as artists, we might start out writing in our room or in our studio or whatever, but your hope is that it goes out into the world and interacts with people and becomes part of a conversation, whether you're starting that conversation or whether you're finishing it or whether you're, you know, a counter voice to that, but not just so that your voice doesn't just end at you making music, so that it goes out into the world. I think for me, some ways to measure that are, you know, like fans and fan participation, and just like, you know, and get those super fans who are like messaging you all the time, and you actually can build a relationship with them, so you feel like your impact in a specific life, but also just, you know, being in the industry changes the industry. So for me, for example, I'm female in the industry. Me having my career changes things hopefully for future females, but also it changes the way guys act in hip hop as well. So I think impact is the way that I would wrap it up.
These are all great things that everyone just said. I always, like, when I first started rapping, I'd always think about when I felt that I would be okay, when I felt that I would have made it. You know, like, if I can just tour, if I can just have this out, or if this person knows who I am, or, you know, and then I gradually started hitting those goals and being not satisfied. And so that goes back to what Andrew was saying, is that, like, success for me is being a person first and a rapper second, but also just being constantly pushing myself to change creatively, to push myself past the boundaries of my last project, and then just also, like, getting off stage and hearing, you know, like, I go to the green room after the stage, you hear that rupture, or, you know, like, you meet someone after the show, like Tasha was saying, someone who connects with it, and that's a real tangible way to measure success. And I think if you get lost up in the kind of statistic way of measuring success, it can really kill everything about you creatively. So yeah, I think it's just honestly being able to still make music and survive somewhat off of it, and to continue moving forward and continue hitting people, and then hopefully have an end game where you can like retire somewhat, or like go into another field based off of what hip hop has done for you. So maybe you never get that crazy deal or that crazy amount of money where you can just coast and chill, but maybe that leads to you in some sort of other respect. Maybe you're a youth worker, maybe you're a politician, maybe you're something else, and maybe hip hop was the thing that really opened your eyes to who you could be because it allowed you to share your voice.
Thank you. So the workshop description that you guys kind of all responded to talks about, the first part talks about opportunities, and I think I've been here at Manitoba Music for about 13 years now, and I see a lot of great opportunities for folk musicians. I see a lot of great opportunities for country musicians, for indie rock bands. There's festivals across the country. There's presenters. There's labels. There's agents. They've got all this support. Multiple music award shows. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are the opportunities for hip-hop in Canada? What is the infrastructure that supports us?
There's actual fans. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the time it's like, yeah, we'll go to festivals where there isn't really anything hip-hop specific, but there is people listening to the music. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Do you have anything to...
I feel like... as a hip-hop artist, like the touring a lot, you end up playing like djembe festivals and all kinds of crazy stuff. If you come at it and you kill your show, you sort of make your own opportunities in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like almost everything we do is like making our own opportunity. It's just part of this art form, right? That's what hip-hop is. It's sort of taking something and turning it into something that's yours in a lot of ways.
So the opportunities are in the folk music festival circuit?
Not necessarily. I'm saying there are opportunities there, though. If there's a folk music festival and you can get a booking agent to get you there, go kill that show. Go kill that stage. But as far as other opportunities, I mean, just talking to like Manitoba Music, for example, stuff like this is huge. Manitoba Film and Music. The fact that we're in Canada and there's grants available to you it's not a normal thing. I'm sure there's tons of stuff.
Thank you.
I'd say one of the biggest things that's going right for us right now is that we don't have to be location based anymore. I mean, most of my fans are in the U.S. and I used to always think about, I was planning on moving to L.A. or to New York and putting all that stuff together, and then just realizing I don't actually have to leave the place that I love that inspires my music. My fans are streaming me on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever they get music. And, so I'm being from Toronto, which is like, we got a lot of things happening there. I don't want to have to leave that cultural hub, right? But you can make your money from all over the world. And I think that's the biggest change from the last, 10 years. And also... I mean, grant funding in this country used to get a really bad rap for completely avoiding hip-hop, and I know a lot of people who still don't apply for grants because that misconception is still hanging around. And I think a lot of the arts councils have been putting in steady work to really bring in people from our communities who know the genre, who know the key players, and advocating. I've sat on Toronto Arts Council, Ontario Arts Council, and the Canada Council for those reasons, and sat there and made arguments for why, rap projects that other panelists on the panel would think are obscure, why that needs money and why it's worth funding. So it's happening, and so I would encourage everybody to be applying for absolutely everything you can, and if you don't feel like you can write grants well, get somebody to help you, because a lot of money is being left on the table, but it's available to us, and that's amazing.
I totally agree with like the whole fact that you don't have to be from a certain location to make yourself hot nowadays. I mean, I've watched the music industry sit back and grow, like in general in Canada, like not just like Aboriginal hip hop too. It's like because there's that aspect of it too that I'm a veteran in that sense. Like I'm talking like 25 plus years, And opportunity is everywhere, really. If you make it for yourself, opportunity is there. Like but take it, like take those opportunities. Don't be scared to do it. Because honestly, I've been grinding forever. Back in the day when I was a War Party, we had an opportunity to perform at the Grey Cup, a halftime show. But my homeboy turned it down because he thought that wasn't where we're going with the music. Now to this day, I'm looking at this halftime show like, shit, why the fuck didn't we do that shit? You know what I mean? And like, so just grind, man. Get those opportunities no matter what. And even if you don't think it's there, the harder you work, it'll come towards you, you know? So like, I'm 38 years old now, you know, and I'm about to just start on my new record. And it's still like, every time I think that's enough, like I've done enough, you just get more hungry, more opportunities come out. So, you know, just always grab them. There's opportunity everywhere. I agree with everything that they said.
I kind of don't agree. I'm going to ask you guys a follow-up question. So, like in Toronto, I think you guys are blessed. You have Spotify offices there. You can walk into Apple. You can walk into Google. You can walk into Universal. You can go and hang out with an incredible group of producers at any given time. Manitoba, we don't have those opportunities. So.
Yeah, but I'm from Calgary, and I just did a 12-day U.S. tour where I have way more fans than I've ever had in Calgary. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I totally get it. Like, I know I face the same frustrating thing as that, but I got that through meeting people in my hometown. Like, I would meet U.S. acts when they would tour through. I would open for them, and then I would go to different conferences learning how to network, and then I would employ that into my networking, meet these people, follow up with them, do all these things, get grant funding to make a video with them, develop a relationship, and then try and turn that into it. I totally understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It is easier, but it's also harder in Toronto because there's a million artists. Like if I'm the biggest fish in Calgary, Lanes and shit, Jazz Cartier and like all the people like that, and there's so much saturation in those markets that it is really hard. I think the number one goal is to make your scene pop at a local level, and once you could take control of your city and once you could sell out a couple local venues, that's when you play Brandon, that's when you play Saskatoon. Okay, once you start doing that, then you go to Toronto. Then once you start doing that, you might meet someone in Toronto who's doing a New York show. You'd be like, hey, how about I do a Toronto show? I'll book you. We'll trade for New York. So I think that there is ups and downs to both. I think that there is also an advantage to being a small fish or a big fish in a small sea, which is me in Calgary. You know what I mean? Like, I'm statistically wise, I'm the most successful rapper in Calgary. Now that's like nothing. That doesn't mean anything. But that has given me the opportunity to meet people when they come through my local scene. I'm the one that called for a local opening spot. You know what I mean?
I think another thing to add to that, just like going back to the jumping on opportunities, it's like, you know, if a junior masterclass comes up, put your name in. You know, I did the Commerce rubber tracks. Now I'm sponsored by Commerce. We were sponsored by them just because it was like I heard about it. We're like, yeah, let's do it. Just do every little thing that you possibly hear about. If Manitoba Music's going to Hamburg, be like, I want to come. Go bother them. Tell them I'm coming. You know, get in their face. Show up every day. Make him mad. Like, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
I was just going to add as well. I think there's this misconception that, you know, wanting to build your hometown music scene means that you can't leave your hometown. And I think that's definitely not, you know, in every other industry. Let's say you start up a new business in tech or something, you know. Your key people are going to go to Silicon Valley for, let's say, 6 months and learn as much as they can and make as many contacts as they can and then bring it back home, bring that knowledge back home. And every time they can afford to, they'll go someplace else and make those connections. And I think, you know, in Toronto, it's the same thing. It's only been a couple of years that people actually want to stay put in Toronto. But before, you know, everyone's just scraping their pennies to get to go to Atlanta for a month, go to LA for a month, go to New York for a month, come back, save some more money, do it all again. And I think that's kind of the reason why, you know, we have like, let's say there's like 10, 15 rappers who've been doing that for 3-4 years. Now in LA, they're like, oh yeah, I know cats from Toronto, and they're doing really cool stuff. So we don't have to keep going there. Now we can build at home because of the knowledge that we've brought home and just like the hype that we've brought home.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to dig a little deeper into the discussion about building things in your home and then moving on. What are some of the basics that really helped you guys out in the beginning? Like, I'm thinking, I don't know how many folks here have like credit cards with high limits and, you know, parents that can lend them money to get to conferences and stuff. So what are these kind of basic privileges that you guys benefited from, and that maybe these guys, these folks in the audience should try and put together as well?
I would ask a question. How many of you guys are producers as well, or like doing like producing, mixing? Yeah. For me, the biggest thing in the beginning of my career was learning to produce for myself. If you can, it's really great to collaborate with other producers. It's, you know, it's great for building community and also building just your collabs. But then you run up against the wall of like, I have this vision for my sound and I can't find somebody who does it, and it takes myself to produce. And doing that was literally just going to studios and being like, dude, can I sit in like every day for a week and just ask you questions until I know you and kick me out of your room or whatever. But that was like, that's like a free education to me, you know, and free connections of people who are actually working. So I'd say the beginning of my career, that was the number one thing. I was like just creeping into studios of people who definitely didn't want me in there, just being like,
You were driven.
yeah.
Nice.
And then did you sell beats to other artists as well, or so then that's another way that she can cash flow her own thing. So like maybe you sell a beat to someone for $200 and then you can use that $200 to film a music video or get a cover design. I put out like 3 records and a couple music videos and a couple tours before I ever had any money. It would be like,
how did you do that though?
I would work a job, I'd get $1,000, I would put $1,000 into 1,000 CDs, and I would just have to sell at least 100 of them to make that money back to get more, and then anything else is what I would live on. And it's sketchy. It's like, this is not like totally fun. Like, I just did a big tour. It was awesome. We had great nights. We also had nights where I didn't sell CDs, and we were like, you know what? Let's just sleep in the van tonight. You know what I mean? Or let's eat McDonald's for the 15th time in this week. And so it's like, it's not always glamorous, but like if you really want this shit, just there's ways to just go get it. Put your own shows on. Like, you don't need a promoter to be like, hey, do you want to open for Wu-Tang? You'd be like, why? So I could sell 70 tickets and then you take all the money? Go to the local bar next door. Be like, hey, I have 70 friends who want to come see me rap. Can I do this show? And I'll take 80% of the door. And then you make $1,000, and then you buy CDs, and then you turn that into $3,000, and then you make a video, and then you turn that, and it's just like, I never had that credit card or anything like that or that funding from, and I know there are a lot of artists who do, because I mentor a lot of young artists who do have that, but that shit's almost more crippling than anything, because if you don't really know what it's like to have to go get it yourself, then you're just the artist who just sits back and kind of waits for opportunities to happen. Tasha said, bug everyone in the studio. Andrew just said, bug everyone at Alberta Music. These people want to help you. Canadians are nice. Like, the reason why Manitoba Music is putting this on is because they're trying to figure out how they can help you. So if you're like, hey, I really want to put on a show, but the venue isn't responding to me, maybe Elise or maybe someone else who works there can help you revamp that email, can help you revamp your pitch, can help you do that, and then you can kind of raise a little bit of money organically. Keep putting it into that. Don't just buy some stupid pair of Jordans because you want to flex on Instagram. Put that shit back into your career, and yeah, just keep going.
Yeah, I agree when we're talking about like being from a small place. Like I'm not from Winnipeg. Like a lot of people actually think I'm from Winnipeg. No, but for real though, they actually do. Like people say in certain media that I have, you know, Winnipeg. From Winnipeg, nah, I'm from Alberta, you know. I come from Hobbema, Alberta, a small reservation on Hobbema, Alberta. And when we started the grind back in the day, we're talking like it's so easy to be an artist nowadays. And what I mean by easy, I mean you got the internet, you got the SoundCloud, you got the YouTubes, you got, you know, back in the days we didn't have that. We had to actually go out there and shake hands and meet the promoters and get out there. And this is before internet, like before, I mean, I'm talking, like, I hate sounding like that old rapper guy, you know what I'm saying? But it days, You know what I'm saying? This is when it was dial-up days, when you had to wait half hour for one page. You know, talking about like early chat shit, like chat room days. Who remembers chat room shit? Like battling rappers on chat room shit. This is what I'm talking about, though. That was those new opportunities when we when we came up. That was those new opportunities. So you know, like when we're talking about opportunities are always evolving, everything's always evolving, dude. Like I've been in this shit forever, and I'm starting to have to understand about the Spotify money, about the YouTube money, and all this other shit, because it's actually hitting my account because of SOCAN and all this other stuff, you know. So like I understand about making shit pop. You really just got to make it hot. Like just go out there and grind. I mean, I agree with them. Like, be a fucking asshole to people, not asshole-ish, like I'm the best in the world, but just be persistent, you know. Just keep at it, keep this and that. What time can I come to the studio? Okay, well, can I book it three months ahead? You know, when we came up, it was like we had to really fucking, like, we had no studios back then. We didn't have any of the MIDI controllers and any of that shit. We actually had to go to studios and pay $150 an hour and this and that. And that's when you had to like actually make the studios believe in you before you could even get in there to waste their time. They thought it was. So, you know, you have to be that persistent. You have to do that, because if you don't, who else is going to do it for you? You know, I'm not going to meet a manager right now and be like, I'm going to do everything for you, dog, you know, before you drop a record. It's not going to happen. You know, you just got to keep going. Even when you do drop a record, just learn what you're doing and keep at it, man, you know?
I would add another thing that I was thinking of while you were talking. At the beginning, I also think, like, don't be afraid to be, you know, no one has to know how nerdy you are about it. Be crazy nerdy about your hustle. Like, just leave no stone unturned. I used to just, like, buy up books, like The Business of Music and Guerrilla Music Marketing 101 and, you know, the How to Network, and like my bookshelf is full of just, like, it looks like I wanted to be, you know, head of A&R or something like that. But rather than thinking of yourself as like an unsigned artist who doesn't have a manager and doesn't have a booking agent, think of yourself as an artist who is also a manager and a booking agent and your A&R. So don't bring the business with you when you're in the studio and you're writing, because you don't want that to affect how you write. You know, you don't want to be now just trying to get on the radio and stuff. Like, write authentically. But as soon as you leave that room, think about if I was now manager man or woman or whatever, what would I do? And if you don't know, read the books and make lists. And, you know, I used to, like, I still do this, but like making spreadsheets full of blogs that I want to hit, and then going every blog, finding the name of the person to hit and their email address. And every time I wrote a song that I put out, I would email them individually and be like, I saw your latest post on this similar rap. Individually, yeah, like, hey, Michael, I saw this post that you just posted up. I see you like this kind of music. I think maybe you'd like this. And it takes hours. It takes hours. I used to, like, stuff envelopes with, like, a press kit that I printed at my house because I didn't have the money to print it nicely, and just address them, put them in my best friend's backpack, and be like, I will buy you a case of beer if you just deliver all of these for me today, you know? And it's just like, see it as like a puzzle that you're trying to crack, you know? Just like everything that you can do, just try and have fun with it.
And I think that's like a manager's dream too, is have an artist that works hard. And I think like everyone's looking for an artist that wants it more than they want it as a manager or a label. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, just kind of adding on what you guys said. So like, if I'm guessing most of you are all musicians, and we're all musicians, so we're all small businesses, and I think we should all think of ourselves as business people as much as you are artists, right? And so that marketing and PR and every little piece, until you can pay people to do it for you, you know, you got to be your own business person.
So, like, the original question was what does it take to secure opportunities and move forward as an artist? I think you guys have nailed it with, like, hard work, just bugging people and spending lots of time on the business side along with the craft. I wanted to ask a follow-up question, and that's just like, in hip-hop, in the worlds that you're coming from, how important is reciprocity, giving back after you've taken so much from other people?
I mean, I think that it's kind of what the culture was built on, a lot of it, and I think that it's there's a number of ways that it's important in terms of, like, reciprocating that with your fans as well. Like if you meet a fan at your show, and I'm sure you guys have all experienced this, where if you take like 5 minutes out to talk to them, it means the absolute world to them. But then also on a lower level, like inspiring the younger generation and stuff like that, not only just for them but for you, because in this industry you're going to become really jaded, because you'll go to all these different meetings and network meetings and mixers and stuff, and you'll just become so bland and you'll forget why you ever fell in love with hip-hop. And one of the reasons why I love to give back is because if I can see some 15-year-old kid with a notepad, you know, like writing his first rap, that might really spark something in me, and then I can. So it's really like you get what you put in, and I think that hip hop is beautiful in that way, that the more that you kind of reach into different people and different groups and stuff like that, the more inspiration that you're going to get back as well. So it's not just like, oh, you're this hero who came to save the day and take pictures and kiss babies, which is part of a lot of it, but you can also get inspired as well for your own actual art by being rejuvenated to the real reason of the culture through someone who's a pure artist at an early age.
One of my first tours was with Charlie Tuna, and I remember we toured with him, and the first night it finished. I think we played the Pyramid here, and we went upstairs and we're talking about the show. And I came back down like 10 minutes later, and Charlie Tuna, they went on, they finished their show. And then at the end of the show, he didn't leave the stage. He walked to the front of the stage and he sat down. And everyone just immediately crowded him. And he spent the next like 3 hours just talking to people. The bar staff was like sweeping, and the dude was still sitting there taking pictures, shaking hands, signing people's CDs. And I remember that really stuck with me, and that was sort of like, that is, if I've ever seen giving back, that's what it is, right? And that dude realizes how much his fans mean to him, you know? Not that we all have, you know, tons and tons of fans everywhere, but just that little bit kind of really stuck with me. And even now when we play shows, no matter where, even if we're playing a festival where they sell our merch for us, we walk up to the merch table and we stand in front of it, and no word of a lie, you're gonna sell so many CDs. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I agree with what both of you guys are saying, in terms of like building with fans and people who are not musicians and younger musicians as well. On the come up, it's so important to build with your peers. You know, Toronto has this terrible reputation, which is mostly true, of everyone kind of trying to make it out of Toronto, be the first to do it, or the first to do it their way, and not having to play nicely. And a lot of those dudes just kind of disappear. You know, if you don't spend the time to build community, then there's not a community that has your back. You know, as soon as you have a track that flops, no one's going to check for you. So I think, you know, a lot of people think about themselves, and in a really short-sighted kind of way. You know, you're just thinking about like your next record or your next video, or how can you get on tour. But if you become that person who, you know, is like, you know, throwing parties, like you said, like throwing shows and getting other acts on there, and, you know, not hounding them for money, just being like, let's build. You want to build, you know, let's just throw a show, or getting people on tracks, or if you're a producer, giving a track to a rapper that you really believe in, even if they don't have money, just say like, let's build. I want to just put my name on the track and we'll build this together. I think suddenly this thing happens where, you know, you become the center of a hub. You know, before you were looking for someone to put you on, and just by virtue of like building something, now you're the go-to person. So that works for you, but it also just works for a community. And I think that's starting to be one of the reasons why Toronto is coming out. We have been playing pretty nicely, you know, especially R&B and rap in Toronto. Even if the rappers don't want to play nice, there's still like the R&B artists who will want to do a track with you, and no money is being changed hands. It's just about building community and interest. I think that's important.
I agree with the whole building community thing too. I mean, giving back as an artist is what we should like be your main medium in general, you know, like whether it's giving back advice, giving back raps, giving back, you know, inspiration through what you're doing. You're always going to be giving back some way, but like actually going out of your way to do like workshops and teach the youth and teach your communities and teach them about how. Sorry about that, my phone's on some shit right
Damn, Carmen.
Yeah, so you know, like teaching, like teaching communities and going out there and actually putting in that work. I mean, that as an artist should be where you should want to go, because a lot of people tend to forget, you know, with the way hip hop is. I mean, you know, everybody talks about money, everybody talks about this and that and other shit, but they don't really talk about the fact that, you know, hip hop feeds families and shit like that. Hip hop is actually, you know, takes people from the gutter and shows them a positive light. There's a lot of positive in hip hop, you know, and if you go out there and emanate that and forget that negative shit and don't focus on the negative and always focus on positive, you are giving back to the community. You are being a leader. You are doing that. When you plan on doing something that no other people are doing, you're putting yourself in a role model position. And that's just something that as artists, everybody up here is a role model, you know. You'll be a role model to your family, to your kids, whatever, your cousins, your nephews, your nieces. You always have to give back because the youth are watching. That's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah, on that note, I just wanted to read a quote. One of my favorite authors, he wrote about hip-hop. They loved this music because it told them against all evidence and odds that they were masters of their own lives, their own streets, and their own bodies. And I think it holds true for a lot of people, and just echoing what you're relaying there as well.
I just wanted to say one other thing, just about the community thing. I'm from your city, you know, or I think most of you, I think everyone here is from Winnipeg. If I know something you don't know, I'd love to share it with you, right? I think that's how we build community too, right? And, yeah.
I'm gonna we're on the topic of opportunities. I'm gonna ask you, anybody have any questions they want to ask about opportunities? I have a couple of more follow-ups on this line, but yeah, if you got a question, feel free to interject.
So, I guess for myself, you were talking about opportunities and building together as like a team. So, in my situation right now, I want to be the best artist that I can be, but unfortunately, times get hard. Like I was hanging with my buddies today, and we were in our studio, and we were trying to make it work, but my girlfriend's in the hospital, right? And when times are hard, and you're looking for somebody to help you, like we were talking about friends, I can't do the things that I want to do because it almost feels impossible. So, sorry to be emotional, but my question is, who can I look to help? Like, what is the best approach for us to become a part of the community, to look for that aid?
I'm gonna ask the panel.
Wow.
I'm just gonna repeat the question, summarize it. Question is basically, what can you do to become a part of the community and access the support that we're talking about up here? Is that correct?
When times are hard too.
Yeah, when
when
times are hard.
especially when times are hard. Yeah.
You know, being an artist, I think everybody in here has had those hard times. You know, like everybody, I mean, just life in general will beat your ass up and shit like that, you know. But I think just the hope of having the fact that you do have the internet. You remember the internet? You know, like I'm not trying to joke or anything. You do have the internet. I mean, everybody can talk.
Not like Helly's faxes.
You know, we do have these things where you can reach out to people. That's why it was made, you know, like, and just like throw the fishing hook out there and just find out, you know, that's the best way to do it. Any scene that you want to go into. If I want to learn to play hockey or something, I'm going to ask a hockey player, you know, what should I do now? You know, like, and don't I don't know, man, just be humble about it. You know, just if you want information, ask it. Because there's a lot of people in this room right now surrounding you that you can ask questions and they'll have answers for you. You know what I'm saying? Just reach out, be in that network, put yourself out there.
I feel like there's a time for everything. And sometimes, like, for me, a really difficult time in my life was 2 years ago. And I found it really, really difficult because I was trying to write a new album. And I wanted the album to be, like, fun and lighthearted and everything. And going into the studio while real shit was happening in my life and trying to write this, it was like banging my head up against the wall. Until I got to this point, I was like, wait, the reason that I'm writing, that is like my outlet, right? So maybe, you know, when things are going really, really rough for you, it's not the time to tour, and it's not the time to, you know, go outside of your comfort zone so much as it is use that to build your craft, because you will make music out of that other people can't make. And that will be the time you look back at that and you're like, A, the music writing that music helped me get through it, and B, those experiences are things that other rappers like don't have anything real in their life to even rap about, you know. So you have to see the positives in that, and then growing out of that, then you have all this material that you can go out to people and be like, all right, I went through this shit, and here's this amazing music that I made.
Nice. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to ask about opportunities in media. Is it easier or harder being a hip hop artist and getting the attention of like the Toronto Star or Billboard or Rolling Stone or any of these bigger media outlets?
It really depends on what you're doing. When I kind of first started my career, I had more of like a, I guess, a gimmick to me. I did a couple like viral videos that kind of helped launch me, and so it was really easy to get press. And then I kind of got away from that, found my sound, wasn't really into that, and it was really difficult. I think with hip hop, especially in Canada, especially with these other media outlets, there's a lot of trying to corner you into some sort of story or narrative, and you might just want to talk about the music you make, but maybe they might behind the camera be like, okay, but tell me about your struggles, you know, like they have this story, you know, because it's the way that the Canadian people digest the news. That being said, there's great internet things that you can do, like you can try and message someone at Noisy, or you can try and get on one of those other outlets where you don't necessarily need the Toronto Sun, or you don't need because all they're going to do is they need an angle, they need a push, they need some sort of thing, whether it's a positive angle or it's a negative angle against you. It's really difficult when you don't necessarily know who you are as an artist and what your image looks like. They're going to pick that for you, and they're going to push you into a box. So at the beginning, I became too conscious of a rapper, go Calgary, like you know, positive stuff, and it kind of put me in a box, and I had to work to get past it. And now I don't get as much media, but I do get more things that I actually care about, like shows and streams and stuff like that. So there was a while where I was on the media all the time doing like happy-go-lucky workshops with kids and stuff like that, and that's cool. But just be aware that like Canadian media is going to try and make you into this story, because hip-hop isn't really popular in the sense of like home turning the news on kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
Not in the editorial desks, but definitely in the general public.
Exactly.
I always tell people that I talk to just get a PR person. You know, save up the money, get another job just to pay for a PR person. You know, like whatever you got to do. Because like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard really dope songs with dope videos, and I'm talking to the person, they're telling me they're going to drop a song, and they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to put it up on Facebook or whatever, and you know, we'll see how it goes. And it's always like, yeah, cool, but that's not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's not because the song's not dope. It's not because your video's not good. It's probably because nobody's pushing it, right? Like, I mean, whoever's just directly connected to you, they may even share it, and that might get you a little, you know, bump in your hometown, but you're really it's not gonna take you anywhere, you know. So if you do plan to put out any material, get a PR person, build an actual release plan around it.
What does a publicist cost?
Well,
I've had a publicist for $500 a month. My current publicist is like $2,500 US a month. So it runs. You're paying for their connections, right? So you get the connections that you can afford.
I've heard a lot of publicists are about $1,500 a month. That's what I get quoted usually. Yeah.
But you don't have to have that all year round. You know, you're doing a release. You're like, I really believe this song could be a hit. I'm gonna scrape together some money, hit somebody up, give them the $1,500, and make sure that you can make the most of those 30 days that they're working for you, and then do it again when you save it up again.
Cool. coming
I
in.
would, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I
Sannie.
was just going to add to what we're talking about, Canada press-wise. I've had so much press across like a very broad spectrum of kind of media outlets. You know, I premiered on like Billboard. I've been in like Huffington Post and Star and Fader and whatever. It depends what your goal is. Like, those are good looks, and the quotes that they put in your articles, obviously, you know, they ends up at the top of my bio, so any person I send it to sees that there's a quote from Billboard or a quote from wherever. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything for you. You know, it drives traffic for that one day. So it's like just a lot of people who are just like hype beasts surfing, you know, to see it, click it, might give it a listen. But in order to actually like motivate someone to listen, to become a fan, like, there's no shortcut. You have to build those relationships yourself. You know, like, I'd say you choose your whatever social media outlet you like the most. For me, I like Instagram the most. But if you like tweeting or you like Snapchatting, and just dig in there, find people who like you, build relationships with them, and that's worth so much more than getting a feature in some publication.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of editors across the country, and they're like, you know, we can do your premiere, we can put a profile up, but you're the one that's going to have to drive traffic to this story. And I think with all the saturation online, there's just not a lot of impact coming from a general plug.
I've chosen personally, rather than doing the PR route, I've chosen personally to like try and target my own thing through, like, if I have a video, I'll use $500 to target people that I think match that sound. So on Facebook, if you guys are boosting any posts or anything like that, you can select the demographics. So if you think, hey, I really think that I could sound dope to a Tasha the Amazon fan, then you can select Tasha the Amazon, and you can select areas of the world that you want to target and people you want to target. And PR people are really dope, and that's a great thing, especially if you get funding through Manitoba Music or through Factor and stuff like that. But there is other ways to just reach fans. I personally don't really ever go on blogs or on media outlets looking for music. I go on Spotify, or I find it on my Facebook feed, or I find it on Twitter or something like that. So just really think about how your crowd consumes music and who you think you would sound good with. And there's ways that you can, even with $50, you can target people, and maybe that gets you 12 new fans. Nothing crazy. It's not going to happen overnight. But you talk to those 12 fans, you interact with them, and those 12 friends tell 5 friends, and then it just keeps building like that. There's like Tasha said, there's no shortcut. It's really just falling on your face millions of times, getting up, being like, that didn't work, let's keep going. That worked a little bit, let's keep going. Oh, that worked really good. Yeah, let's do that more, you know, so.
Testing ideas.
I totally agree with everything that they're saying, to be honest. I think it's a lot about falling on your face and getting back up and coming back stronger, you know, and just staying persistent. Persistence is the key, you know what I'm saying? Stay persistent. So.
Some very practical words of advice right now. If you're doing like a release, definitely budget some money, like you're saying, for ads. Facebook has it so that they're not actually putting your posts even through, you know, your fans' feed without paying for it. That's their model now. But you don't have to spend a lot. Don't bother with Twitter ads. I've tried all of them. It's like zero bang for a buck. It's like, it turns out being like $1 per impression or something like that. Really terrible. Instagram kind of wishy-washy, but run several ads on Facebook. Try a different one out every week. Put, like you said, like $10 into it. I tend to run like campaigns and post campaigns. So like campaigns is, you know, like you said, targeting some people of similar artists who like similar artists and seeing if they like your page. That one I've been able to get down to like 9 cents per like, which is really great. And then post ones, if you're doing a premiere or you're launching something, if it's a collab, target the fans of whoever you collabed with. And there you're looking for shares, and I find that like Facebook is a wonderful medium.
Google PPC as well?
Yeah, for like videos and shit. But yeah, it's definitely an excellent investment, and it doesn't have to be a lot, like $50 to $100.
A huge resource for that is Manitoba Music. Go talk to Rachel. She knows all about that stuff.
Yes. Further on the topic of opportunities, what kind of like the Lytics, you guys have a booking agent. Tasha, you have a booking agent, right? Is it harder or easier, or just as easy for hip hop artists to engage booking agents in Canada?
I don't even know if I can answer that. I got really lucky with our booking agent. Like, Grant kind of found us, but we had to, after he said he was interested, we had to make him realize that we were worth his time, right? And even just having him isn't enough, right? Like, he only works when when I'm on him, like, hey, go find me shows. I want to play these times, you know. And same with our European booking agent. You know, I got to tell him when I want to go play over in Europe, you know. And they're both amazing, but you got to be on it.
My agent is American. They're based in LA, New York, and in Europe. And I basically held out until that deal came out. I figured, you know, if you have a booking agent, you're sharing like 10-15% of your show income. And if you feel like you can do the legwork yourself, because A, you're building relationships with promoters who, you know, people change jobs a lot in this industry. So who's a promoter now might work at Spotify later. Actually, some dude who just a couple years ago, I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago, when I was first started my solo project 6 years ago, did a remix for me. He is now the head of Spotify in Canada. You know, so it's like, just if you can build relationships by yourself, whether it's going out and trying to, you know, get shows or get interviews or whatever it is, A, you save money, and B, you build relationships. And holding out for like the best possible relationship, somebody who will really hustle for you.
To build on that, beware of the sharks, because there's people out there that are going to come and be like, hey, I can book shows for you. I was talking to an artist. Actually, no, we made a song, like, it was last week, and she was telling me that she was going to get a manager. She's like, yeah, I'm talking to this manager from Toronto. She's a real estate agent. And I'm like, oh, stop. To do with music, you know? And long story short, it's like, beware of those people. Hold out until you can't do it yourself, right? Like, when going back to my agent, when we got our agent here, it was literally like a real agent, you know? So it was like, well, right off the bat, you're going to be able to do stuff I can't do because I don't know what I'm doing, you know? So beware of the sharks.
And also just don't take it, like, I've never had an agent. I don't have a manager. I tour probably 4 months out of the year, mostly in the United States. And that's just from me. I want an agent. I want a manager. I haven't met anyone that worked or had the right deal put in front of me. That didn't stop me. Like Tasha said about meeting these people, when you have sound check at 6 o'clock, show up at 6 o'clock with a good attitude, meet everyone in the bar, get their names, find out like how you can contact them in the future. Like, when I'm put on a tour as an opening act, I'm meeting the promoter, I'm meeting the person at the venue, because then next time I'm trying to do a solo show in Los Angeles, I could be like, hey, remember that? I'm that guy that, you know, we had a sandwich, we had a beer together, you know, like, and he might feel kind of bad for you and throw you a bone because you were a nice guy, and most rappers are assholes. So if you can avoid that, that's going to take you super far. So yes, agents, all that stuff is amazing. I want all that. It doesn't stop me. You know what I mean? Not having that, it doesn't stop me. I'll meet the artist themselves, try and connect with them directly, try and connect with people like that who are doing things, make myself indisposable. So I was just put on this tour with a guy named POS who used to be on Rhymesayers and stuff like that. We've done a few tours together. And when we were on this tour, anytime there was something frustrating that I could tell that they didn't want to deal with, like paperwork or even just cleaning out the van, anytime we stopped for gas, I did that. I made myself that tool. So a lot of it is just making yourself so useful. It's like Diddy started in the mailroom, you know what I mean? It's like, just make yourself so useful that they have no way to, and then that's another way that you can get on tours, meeting people who are already touring, having good content, working with those people, and hopefully they throw you a bone with like a 3-day tour, and then you prove to them that, holy shit, it's way easier to tour with this guy because we're all disorganized and he's not. You know what I mean? That's how I built my career, was just being more thoughtful than everyone else that I was on tour with.
Man, like I'd say make time. if no one's gonna believe in your craft more than yourself in the beginning of what you're doing. You know, you got to make yourself out there, make the calls, you know, make the emails, make this and that. But try books, yeah, the faxes, you know, the smoke signals, however you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta believe in yourself until somebody else believes in you too and says, "Hey, man, you're doing a lot of work. How about I help you?" But I agree with the Sharks too, man. Like, you know, it's really easy. It's really easy to get caught up in a lot of shows if you don't know your paperwork right. Sharks will get you. So, you know, but I agree with everything. Like just grind until somebody else wants to help alleviate your grind. You know.
They never do. Just keep grinding.
Yeah, exactly. If you already know everything, then you might as well just keep doing it. You know. So.
Do we have any more questions? Feel free to raise your hand as we're going. Yeah, go ahead, Shay.
Question for Tasha. When do you, at this point in your career, I mean, I can talk about it. Do you even like focus much on Canada anymore? I mean, it's you've built your market in the U.S. for the most part, so I understand following like the market itself. But is there a part of you that goes like, you know, I want to do these Canadian shows and I want to do a Canadian tour, even though I know it's going to be like 13-hour drive between there and I might hit a dead moose or something.
In general is urban centers. So even like I travel really light. It's me and my DJ, so we fly everywhere because it's not 7 of us. So my markets in the States, even like I'll hit New York, New Jersey, and like Miami, LA, and Austin, and Chicago, and like so that's also my strategy in Canada, because I feel like if I'm going to make the time to go out there, it has to be worth it, because Canada is huge and it's really difficult to travel across, right? You know, so rather than playing, like if I'm in Vancouver, like rather than playing 5 small shows across BC, I'll put all of my energy into trying to get as many people to that one show and getting as big a venue as possible and biggest billing as possible. And that's just how it's worked for me. I think part of that's something I learned from being in Toronto, because I think we have a really great music scene, but we don't have the numbers of people. Like most of the people in Toronto, you know, it's like 6 million people, but they all live in Brampton, or you know, like they're all like spread out. It's really, yeah, Saga and Brampton and North York. It's like really spread out, and especially, you know, with the music that we make, we're trying to target young kids, you know, like 18, 19. Most of them don't drive, and they got to be home, and nobody wants to take the GO train for 40 minutes to come and see you, you know. So I've learned to try and make as big a splash as possible with every single show and make every show work. I know a lot of other people like to do it differently, and they do like small shows and they don't mind driving place to place. But I've just found that for me, it also just helps with the hype, because then suddenly you have like this air of like scarcity a little bit, right? You're playing one show there, so everybody better come. So you can turn that into press for you as well. But that's just the way that I found to save money a little bit and still hit all the people.
That's huge. That's great. That's a great point. Also, being in Manitoba, the more shows you or being a Canadian, the more shows you do play, the more funding you're going to get as well. So with someone like Tasha, she's buzzing right now. So it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense to fly in and out of stuff like that. If you play a show for 5 people in Red Deer, that sucks. Trust me, I do it. You know what I mean? But it also might be an extra $300 that you can pocket after the tour and then save to fly to Miami to do a show. You know what I mean? So it does suck to tour this huge nation, but there's also funding to do it, and there's great people all across who will ride for you if you come to their town. So I mean, again, there's no real easy way to. Whatever works for you.
Any questions? Decipher.
Oh, shit. 1 2 1 2. Not just joking. It's more of a booking question. So like, I was just wondering if you guys would have any pointers or maybe like a mock script on how to like get out there on the road to actually get, you know, paying gigs would be nice, but even just a gig period, you know?
I think it starts with a good email and a good like representation of who you are, your social media, a good video, something that people can look at. People are very quick to judge, so it's here, and if you have like a pitch, being like, hey, can you look this over? Having a good pitch is a really good way to do it. I booked my first like 3 tours myself. Some of the shows were awesome. Some of the shows were the worst nights of my life. And that's all what's made me a better performer, because if you can perform in front of 12 people who don't want to see you, that's going to make you a great rapper. So I think that that's where it starts, is knowing where you want to target. And if you don't know where you want to target, think of someone who's a like-minded artist. Could be an American artist who just toured Canada. See where they played. See who they worked with. Does anyone have a local hip-hop night? In Calgary, we have 10 at 10. So in Calgary, you guys could all play 10 at 10. It's a hip-hop night in Calgary that has like 300 people that come out. You only get 10 minutes, 10 rappers for 10 minutes, but they give people a shot. There's nights like that all over the place, where it's like maybe London, Ontario has a Thursday night. It's just doing your research to find that and emailing those people with a proper professional pitch, and that could take you a long way.
I think it was talked about earlier, but making connections with whoever's, like, if someone's coming through the city, you know, so you could know Tasha tonight, you know Transit tonight, you know what I mean? Like, that's already 2 connections. There's Toronto, there's Edmonton, Calgary. Sorry, I knew that. There's Toronto and Calgary, right? And even stuff like, I remember, I think it was CMW or North by, I can't remember, Manitoba Music. They brought us there one year, and I remember we were talking about strategies of what we were going to do, and we just decided to crash all the like industry stuff, like because there's a Manitoba Music in other provinces, right? And we were like, let's just go see if we can get some free food and drinks and just talk to everybody, right? And we just met as many people as we could. And it's just, I think you just got to be willing to hustle and be creative, right? If there's a show coming through, go meet someone. That's what I think.
So we've mentioned Manitoba music events a couple of times, or Andrew has at least, and I'm going to ask Carmen specifically, like, you just participated in your first Manitoba Music Showcase. What were some of the challenges there? Because it's not easy, is it?
Well, I think the challenge was getting the paperwork right, honestly. Like it was, because for me, like, I keep bringing up some old shit, but like, I've been in this for a minute, and back in the day, it was record labels and booking managers and shit that handled all that, you know, like, and that really got my name up there, you know, it got my face known in media and shit like that. But at the end of the day, I still had to relearn everything. Like, I just went for my first grants and shit, and so far this year, I've gotten 100% of the grants that I went out for. You know what I mean? And it's not me. Don't give me too much credit. I'm not writing the shit. I understand that, you know, but I'm learning as I go along with these people, and their success is ultimately a success not just for me, but also a success for everybody that I represent and everybody that represents me and holds me down. You know, and with booking, I'd have to say, like, the best thing is a 10-second pitch. If you can sell yourself to your best friend, then you might as well put that in making the phone calls. And it also depends on what you offer, you know, like, because I arguably make crazy good living touring reservations more than touring like urban centers. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I phone places, you know, I talk to, like, you just got to know who to ask for, and then be ready with the faxes, and be ready with the press kit, and be ready with the emails and all that other shit and be personal with them too. Don't just like spam motherfuckers. Don't just like press a bunch of people and spam them. Like, for me, it's about building a relationship with who I phone. Talk to them and get them, like I said, the best 10-second pitch you have. Talk to them, get them to know you as a person, and then have them be like, oh yeah, well yeah, hit me up with the package, you know, yeah, that's definitely it. But going back again with the Toronto thing, I'd have to say it was just getting the paperwork and getting everything right. It pushed me harder to understand what I need. Like, I want to go to Manitoba Music if we go to, you know, Europe and shit. Like I know what it takes now, you know, and also just make sure your music is hot, you know, just, Make sure your music is hot, man. That's the number one shit. That's the main thing that every artist in here should understand. Make sure your shit is hot, you know, and not just hot to your basement. I mean, make sure it's hot around. I'm not just a hip hop artist. I got things jumping on with the Powwow Step Tribe. I've done music with a tribe called Red. I've done music, like EDM music, all sorts of shit. Don't be afraid to, you know, get out there. You know, you gotta have guts. You know, you gotta get uncomfortable to succeed. I live by that shit. You know, so get out there and then take chances, have fun. You know.
How do you guys feel about pay?
And how do you feel about paying to play?
Don't pay to play. I'm not sure I've ever paid to play.
You need that money for your own career,
Yeah.
right? Not to line somebody else's pocket.
I mean, even just like, if we play a show anywhere in the city, you're getting paid if you open for us. You know, like, do not pay to play.
What I would add to the booking thing is, I mean, especially for booking, but this goes for interfacing with anybody. Think through their eyes, right? You want to make their life easy. So you want to deliver what it is that they're looking for. So if I'm a booker, you know, I'm trying to fill the room with people who will, you know, pay to get in there and then buy some alcohol or whatever. I'm trying to, if it's an opening act or whatever, you know, then you want to support the act so that it matches. So anything that you can do to show them how you're the perfect fit for that, you know. That's where, you know, a couple months of maybe like Facebook ads to grow how many likes you have on your page. So you can say, I have a following, and, you know, here's a quick snapshot of the demographics, because you can see all the stats behind there in your Facebook page. Take a snapshot of it and say, like, you know, this how many people live in this city who like my page and who spin me on Spotify. You can get your Spotify stats as well.
Yeah.
And just, like, you know, give them a little package. And another thing is maybe make it a habit once a week to see who's coming through your town or someplace close, and who's promoting that show, and then hit them up, give them that package, and say, you know, I have a lot of similar fans as this person, and I think I would be a great opener. Do you have an opener yet?
Go to the show.
Yeah.
And then meet the guy who's putting it on. And then it's like, holy shit, this guy came out to talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, like, great point. People are going to give you way more time of day if you actually show up. At the beginning of your career, you should be going to like 3-4 shows a week. Indie rock shows, anything that's happening, because you never know. Maybe someone wants you to feature on their track. Maybe someone wants a different opener than every other band. I got my start just by going to every show and I could, and you're going to be limited if you only stick to hip hop. So go meet those promoters. Maybe there's a promoter who throws some sort of Winnipeg show that needs diversity added to it. It's a shitty word that they use to throw hip hop in, but maybe that's the case. So just like go to as many shows, meet as many people at as many bars as you possibly can, and then bands will be like, wow, this guy came to my show, I'm gonna go to his show. And that's just the community thing of like building that, being like, hey, if I bring 5 friends to your show, you gonna reciprocate that next Tuesday? Yeah, man, we're gonna roll through. Next thing you know, you got 20 people there. Then you can tell the promoter, hey, last show we did, we have 20. We think we're gonna get 50 this time. Okay, booked, you know? So don't just stop watching TV and just go to shows and write music. Just get rid of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with that pay-to-play shit. You know, and it's not just because, you know, well, back in my day, no, fuck that. I mean, why would you want to pay to play? They should be paying you for your time, you know, not being conceited or anything, but you bring a show to somebody, you have fun, you know, regardless, even if it's $20 what they're going to pay you, or you a couple drinks or something, that's still just appreciation. But if you're paying to jump on a show, like I know in Winnipeg that's been happening a lot lately. Like I got offered a show and I'm like, yeah, man, I'll open up. Okay, well, you got to give us $250 for this. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I'm taking time out of my life to come and do whatever. So like, I wouldn't agree with that.
There is like, especially at a local level, definitely don't do it, because this is your city. I have tours sometimes where it'll be like, this is how much the van costs, this is how much the agent costs, this is how much blah blah blah, and we'll just like kick like $1,500 out of our grant. If we get a grant for $8,000, we'll kick like $1,500 out of it, as just an added thing. Like, and that's, as soon as people find out you're Canadian, they're going to ask you for that, you know, because they know that we have grants. So if that's kind of the deal breaker for some people to get you on the road, I kind of view it as I'm just contributing towards the tour. Because if it is something where, like, I don't have to pay for hotels or I don't have to pay for, but that's totally different. That's a tour. That's contributing to a tour. But on a local level, yeah, you definitely never want to pay to play. You definitely want to. I just book my own shows, book your own stuff, make people pay you. If you got 100 friends on your Facebook, bug every one of them to come up for $10, make $1,000, and then laugh at everybody and cake.
On that note, like, I think it's important, like they've talked about it in the past or earlier tonight, and that's building together and partnering on things. So in the case, maybe it's you and two other acts that are renting the pyramid, and that's going to cost, what is it, like $500, $750? So you might have to chip in $750 just to cover those costs off the top. I know that when I started out, I don't know, 15 years ago too, I was promoting a lot of shows, and there was a number of nights where I lost a lot of money, and I would just go to my bank and just pull up money to pay for the venue and stuff. So, I mean, you learn these lessons, and the more people that you can partner with and work together with, I think the better. And yeah, so I mean, there's paying to play. There's events that'll definitely come through and say, you know, we're going to give this opportunity to perform for somebody from Universal or wherever, and you just have to pay like $500 and you get this opportunity. I mean, that's, what do you guys think? Is that what we're talking about here with Cypher's questions?
I think the thing is, those events, everybody knows you're paying to play, and so there's no interest. Like, it could be the head of A&R at Universal and the head of A&R at Sony and every important dude in the world, and they are there for a paycheck. That's what. So they're on their phone the whole time. They might not even be in your genre. I did not a pay to play. Like, when I was first starting out, it wasn't a pay to play, but it was one of those, like, if you sell 20 tickets, then you can play this show, whatever. I did it just to get stage experience, which is a whole different reason. But I realized, I was like, all the guys that they told me were going to be on this panel, they're actually, one was a rock guy, one was a folk guy. None of them wanted to hear any rap, but they were just the context that they had. So it was just like, it's a hustle, right? It's a promoter who doesn't care to build, who wants to line his... Exactly, right? And so, you know, if you get on a showcase for your own merit, then the people who are listening to showcase are like, oh, there's something going on here. Somebody asked them to be here.
Well, always sell tickets if they're asking you to sell tickets.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's as part of the partnership. Whenever somebody hires you for a gig, they're expecting you to move tickets and to get people into the room. And it's not like any other part. Somebody's hiring you, you've got to work just as hard as they do. We're kind of on the topic of showcases. I know that you guys pulled out of a showcase earlier this year. What are kind of the reasons? Yeah, so what are the reasons you showcase, and what are the reasons maybe you don't take the offers that are given to you?
I mean, showcasing is amazing, right? Like, there's a lot of opportunity. You get to play for diverse crowds and people that you may not have the opportunity to play for in other cases, right? Like, who knows, you may play a showcase at Breakout West and get yourself a booker, right? Like, you never really know how that's going to work. For us, the reason why I pulled out of that showcase, it was a Breakout West showcase. So we pulled out of a Breakout West showcase because we just got off a tour. And it was like, actually, we toured all summer in Europe, and we came home, and we're just like, the thought of leaving my house was like, I don't want to fucking do that. So that was basically what it was. Two of the dudes were sick. It's just sort of like, you got to weigh your options, I guess. That's what it is, right? And it's, part of it was like, could we benefit from this? Absolutely. But could I legitimately get super sick because I'm tired? Yeah. And then if I'm sick, you know, how does that affect me, right? And it's, you know, I kind of had an idea of who was going to be there. I had sent everyone that contacted me, or I had contacted and told that I was going to be there. I let them know I wasn't going, right? Like, it was you know. So
you're doing research for these conferences and showcases ahead of time?
Every conference I've ever been to, I do my research. I come with names. I know who I want to talk to. And, you know, I approach them, you know, or if I find a way to hit them up without being too creepy. But yeah, no doubt.
You want to hear something awesome? When you're meeting them perhaps for the first time at these showcases or conferences, what are you doing to try and like build some rapport?
I mean, it's kind of a weird dance I've taken a long time to figure out how to do, and it's weird system of just making friends with people first. You know what I mean? Like and it took me a long time. Like we used to do like the super eager, like, you know, whack thing that everyone just cringes at, and it's like, yo, get this dude
flyers
off
everywhere, and
yeah,
posters.
like that's super lame. Like I think, you know, it's great to be eager, but I think there's also something in just making a friend, because as much as you may want that person to manage you, you know, or as much as you think that person would be a great manager, do you even like them? Like, get to know them, like, because you may say get that management situation that you want, and you may realize that they're awful people, right? So it's, yeah, I can't even remember your question, but
I think you answered it.
Okay.
You guys, we only got about another 15 minutes here. I'm gonna throw it out to the audience. If you do have any questions, yeah, come up here and use the microphone so everyone can hear.
If you guys could convert someone to being a fan with just one of your songs, what song would it be? So I get to plug.
Oh man.
Whatever I'm currently promoting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I think is funny? Every single one of your songs should be like a different part of you, right? So then there's different people who gravitate to all of that. I think as artists we get sick of stuff long before anyone else in the world gets sick of stuff, right? So like as soon as a song comes out for me, I'm like, don't listen to that anymore. Yeah. It's like I'm so sick of it. But like I still have people coming to me discovering my first mixtape and being like, I totally fuck with this. I'm like, that's amazing. So like everything you put out is the best thing to somebody, right? Even if you grow past it, as you should grow past your stuff. But it's all good. All of it.
Cool.
do you actually want like the song? Oh, okay. Shit. I need to think of this.
I just put out a track called Waves like 4 years ago that you should all put on your Spotify playlist.
Waves.
Community.
I got a track called Feeling Like. You can look on your phone right now that you're looking on your phone. But yeah, Feeling Like is my new video and stuff. It's the lead single to my new album. 1491 is the new shit. You gotta get that one.
So yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Friction, probably the Lytics Friction.
So one of the next topics was kind of how we build together in Manitoba to get the rest of the world to notice. And I've seen like social media is really important to a lot of people, a lot of different communities, not only hip hop. And I've noticed every once in a while I'll get these emails from out of Toronto. It's like, this is the screenshot. Can you put it in your Instagram story? This is where we want you to post. And I don't know how many you follow different crews out of Toronto or the US, and they're always posting the same images, so you're exposed to it multiple times in your feed. So I mean, that's a good example of how we can work together to get the message out to more people. But how do you guys, are there any other examples that you guys know of?
Yeah, like Calgary was really weak hip hop scene when I moved there. And so what I ended up doing was just doing headlining shows and working with bands and stuff like that. But then there was this dude, Benny, who started this night, 10 at 10, and would allow people to come if it was their first show, or maybe there was some dude who toured professionally who would also rock. It was just, honestly, the whole slogan was let's build, and it was just honestly something where once a week everyone in the hip-hop scene went. It's actually amazing to me that you guys are all here at this workshop. I mean, it's amazing that they're offering it, but you guys actually came and took advantage of it. So that already shows that you guys are unified, or that you guys want to do it. So if you guys just, you look around at the people in this room. These are your peers. These are the people that you're going to build. You guys all have friends that you don't know who you are, but they know who this dude is, and maybe you guys can get on a track together. Maybe you guys can get on a show together, cross promotion, stuff like that. It's just all getting over this hip hop mentality of mean mugging and hating everyone else, and just being like, we all care about this city that we live in, and we all care about this art form. And whether or not I think you're whack or not, like maybe I'll come see your show, and just being a body in that room, and then taking criticism and taking input from other people, and not getting all defensive and being like, well, fuck you, you don't know who I am, like just being like able to listen, and not just listening to talk, not just being like, hey, can I hear your song just so I can show you mine. Being like, how do we, learning from everyone you meet, taking every bit of criticism, no matter how valid it is, and listening to everything, and trying to do better for this scene. Showing up to events, that is just, I can't say that enough. Show up to the local hip-hop events, and keep that going. And then if there's 100 people at that show, then they're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to give you guys a Saturday now. And now you're no longer doing this Thursday bullshit or whatever. You're like, if there's enough, there's strength in numbers. So yeah,
I like the fact that we should build, like actually build. There's a lot of dudes that say, you hit me up, let's work, and then it never fucking materializes, never happens. You know what I'm saying? I think you should actually take the step, and I said it again, and I'm gonna say persistence. You stay persistent with people, man. Like, get under the skin at times, keep working, like just build, like. If I win,
are there any examples you can
like? If I win, like, Winnipeg wins. If he wins, Winnipeg wins. Shea wins, like they win. Like we gotta have more community in a sense, not be so like against each other.
Are there any examples?
I have a couple examples.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay. Great.
So one thing that I was saying before, like I've chosen Instagram as my social media because I can't worry about snapping every single day, and you just kind of like pick one that works for you. So for Instagram, a thing that me and a bunch of people have started is, because I'm still crazy nerdy about all this stuff, as you should always stay super nerdy. Instagram pods. So one way for your any one of your posts on Instagram to get shown up in other feeds is by the amount of interaction that people are doing with it and the timeliness of interaction, right? So if like 10 people like it in the first minute is better than 10 people liking it in the first hour. So if you can find, our pod right now is 15 people, but like anything 10, if you can get 10 people together, you don't even have to be like rapping together, just friends, and they don't even have to be in music. It can just be anyone who's active on Instagram. And what you'll do as a pod is every time one of you guys posts, everyone will like it and everyone will comment. And and so that's just like one way to build. And if you can build more people, sure, you're gonna say something. You had your hand up. Were you gonna say something?
Come up here. Use the microphone, please.
So I think everybody in the room has WhatsApp, right? Mm-hmm. I've noticed a tendency that a lot of people kind of create a chat where everybody can contribute to. Like I'm a producer, and somebody might be a rapper, and we could exchange stuff through WhatsApp chat. And like if everybody would put down their number, maybe email, we could create something like that, and basically have a way of communicating through that, and just kind of reaching out into community and being able to ask a question, maybe find help, collaborate with people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So like a WhatsApp pod.
WhatsApp pod, any kind of pod, like where you can all kind of,
That's
especially
cool.
any kind of like stats based thing, right? Because that's how you're gonna get pushed to people's timelines. And another thing is, everyone for some reason thinks that newsletters, like old school newsletters to emails, is like gone. But it's actually a perfect time to be building your newsletter list because less people are doing it. And if you can get people like your fans email addresses, and obviously not spamming them, but make high quality, you can go on MailChimp, do this for free. You can send up to 2,000 names in a newsletter for free. And a really great way to do that, to build up your newsletter list, would be, if you have a collective or people that you'd like to perform with, a couple producers, a couple DJs, a couple rappers, whatever. Put them together, call yourself a collective, and then send out a monthly newsletter with all of the highlights or whatever, and like resource share.
I mean, I just want to add to that. I mean, if you are touring or you're getting out or you're playing shows in the city, just put a little thing in front of it, asking for their names and emails. Honestly, sometimes that's more important than selling CDs.
And you can trick people. You could be like, hey, thanks so much. Come to the merch table if you want a free CD. And then everyone comes to the merch table, and they say, hey, where's my free CD? You say, yeah, just sign up your email and I'll send it to you. And then people are already awkward because, when you pick out an item and you bring it to the front of the store and it's more expensive than you thought, but you're already at the front of the store. That's how I like to do that shit with the merch table, and that's a huge way. There's also apps. If you guys have iPads or anything, a laptop, there's an app called Noise Trade, which you can, or Bandcamp, where you can just collect, and instantly you could be like, hey, just type your email in here right on this laptop, and then it will send the record right there. So you're not lying. You're saying, yeah, free album. It might be something different than they think, but.
I got a question from Bubba.
I know we're getting ready to wrap up right now, and I want to hear either Alan or Shay kick a beatbox, and I'd like each one of you to spit like a 16-bar verse. All right? And it doesn't have to be freestyle. It can be written. Okay, I'm not going to hold that to you. But I think that all the people listening around the world right now, as well as all your fans, your new fans here, and followers that are here, and all of them would love to hear that. Especially because there's 4 completely dynamic different styles and flow and energy. So, Alan, are you going to kick the beat, or are you going to? Alan's on it.
No, I think we're just going to keep it to questions, and then you guys can perform. Like, find them online, find them on Spotify. Yeah. Yeah. No. Carmen's pulling up lyrics. Yeah. Shoot. No, we'll keep that for another time. But thank you, Bubba.
I did want to say one thing though. Like I said earlier, I'm from the city, so let's build. Like, if you want to build with me, reach out to me. You can email me if you don't feel comfortable saying what's up. Like here tonight, it's just andrew@thelytics.com. Pretty easy. Just email me. Just send me your music. I'll listen to it. I want to hear it. I want to meet you. It's all good.
And Calgary, transithiphop@gmail.com or transit22.
And before we wrap up and get you guys all their contact info and everything, but I also want to make note. I think people across the country, especially in the music industry, are always watching what's happening in different cities. I don't know how many years ago. It was 5 or 6, probably 7 years ago. I started to take note of what was happening at the Electric Powwow in Ottawa, and then we brought those guys in. The first time I brought them in, there was 20 people in the room. Second time there was 40, and we kept on building, and they kept on building. And so, I mean, you have a branded movement that you can shop around. People will take note. People will take chances on you. I think there's something happen at XQs on a regular basis. You guys are doing. Yeah, so I mean, people take note of these movements. I know another good example is I think Bear Gal in Toronto, Safer Spaces movement, parties and stuff like that. I think anytime you have parties and movements that are tied to really great ideas, people will take note, and that's something that we can build together in Winnipeg as well. So yeah, let's wrap up. Any last questions? Yes. Grab Mike.
Thanks so much for all the information and all the talks that you guys have shared with us. Just as an educator, what can I do to help bring up the youth? Shout out to Jay, one of my students who's out here, and just what else can I do to help them thrive and grow as artists and keep them motivated?
I would say a huge thing is, like we've mentioned, having complete press packages, having well-written copy, grant applications, sitting on a lot of different grant panels before. There's been so many times it breaks my heart that actually the music was really good and you can tell enthusiasm is there, but just things were not written right. And so it's really hard to go to bat for that in a room full of people who are, you know, like if it's like a panel, it's usually like a rap person, a classic music person, a jazz musician, whatever, and you have to champion the music. So if things are not written right, I can't turn to the classical music guy and be like, this is popping off. Like, he'll just be like, I don't get it, you know? So especially as an educator, you know, I'm sure your writing, your speaking is very well. So just getting in there and helping them get packages together would probably be the best.
I'd have to say also, as an educator, you know, you only get better with practice. So, you know, get them to practice all the time. Be ready, drop of a dime ready, you know, like, and like Bubba is the same, like that happens all the time. You know, as a rapper, people are gonna test you. As a rapper, people are gonna be like, okay, spit something. Let me hear something right now. Then you're a rapper, like you'll hear it. Like it's keep them at it, keep them practicing.
I mean, also reach out to different artists that are making music. Like Helly would be great. You know, he lives in the city. If you could, I'm sure he'd probably do it, maybe for a little money. I don't know. But you know, myself, Decipher's been around for a long time. My fax.
I actually have one.
Send Helly a fax.
Abstract. Yeah, just reach out to the resources that are here. Manitoba Music. I know Alan went and did something for 393 recently, and people still tell me about that. Like when I run into the 393 kids. Are you from 393? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
This young man is.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Like you guys are doing a lot of the right things. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, like another example is the Remix Project in Toronto. They're just doing incredible things. A lot of great producers coming out of there, great
There's
managers.
also Beats My Movement.
Which is who's running that?
I know I started it. Like,
you did? Oh wow!
In 2007, and I think
Nice.
right now it's Tona. I think Tona's running it.
Yeah, a lot of great producers and MCs coming out of there. I think like you guys stick together. You drive each other to innovate, push each other to discuss different topics and explore different genres and music. I think that's where the real innovation and the movements come from, is you guys talking on a regular basis. And that's I don't think that's happening enough right now. We can learn from what's happening in Toronto. We can learn from what happened in Ottawa, what's happening in Calgary, and we can do it better.
Also, just for anybody, like going forward, I answer all of my Instagram DMs, like ones that are not if they're appropriate. I just laugh at the rest and then forward them to everybody. But yeah, and I get a lot of people in there who just like have questions and stuff, and it makes me really happy. So. I'm Tasha the Amazon on Instagram.
Just don't be afraid to talk. You know, reach out, yo. As artists, you know, we're charismatic. You know, you want to talk to people. You want to be out there. You want to shake hands. You know, just reach out. You know, like we may have tattoos, we may look mean at times, but just reach out, man. Shit, I got family, I got kids, I got a new kid, I got a new baby on the way. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a family dude. You know, there's nothing threatening about me. So like, just hit me up. I love work. That's what this is. This is what we love doing. But when you love doing what you're doing, it doesn't look at work. You know, it's just what you love doing. So,
and it's like. As far as resources go, we've got stuff here. You can come talk to us at Manitoba Music. We can help. When we can't help, we can usually point you in the right direction. A lot of these organizations across the country, like SOCAN, Factor, they all have paid staff that are there. It's their job to help you through these systems. Grants, I don't think you need to rely on grants. Grants are kind of a bonus for a lot of people. They can definitely help. But I mean, like, you always have to build on your own. I think you can learn from what these folks have done. They've definitely built on their own without the grants. The grants have helped a lot, but
even the whole grant thing, like there's people in the city that write grants, you know, and they'll take a little off the grant, like 7% or 15%. I've seen a couple of different ones. So I mean, if you're like, I don't know how to do this, like, that's probably the best way to do it.
But if you don't get a grant, it doesn't keep on plugging.
I didn't get probably the first 5 grants I ever applied to. This year alone, like 2017, I think I made like $175,000 in Canadian grant money. And I have another like 30 coming before the end of the year. That's coming from like nobody saying yes to any of my grants to me getting every single one that I've applied for in the last 3 years. My writing got better. got more precise. I'd say like the best thing you can do about a grant is be precise. You know, like everyone's like, I'm gonna blow up. This is an amazing song. Tell them what you're gonna do. You're gonna use this money to do exactly this with exactly this person, and this is why. Especially for the Arts Council grant, they don't care so much about sales. They care about the artistry. So you have to talk about your process really well. You have to talk about the why, where it fits in, how it's going to change the community. And if you can explain that really well, and the music is good, then you're getting it. Like there's no reason that you're not getting it.
So the grants are a whole another panel. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I'm going to just get you guys to say what your social media, where you can find them online, and then that's going to be the all of
just
our
one
time
thing
today.
really quick. The easiest grant to get on Factor is called the Artist Development Grant. Okay? It's $2,000. Don't mess around with the other stuff yet. Write that in your phone. Artist Development Grant. Do it now. Okay, I'm done.
Oh, and sorry, I forgot to mention that Tasha and Dan are here for one-on-ones tomorrow. Please, Rachel, you have a question? Okay, one second. The one-on-ones are tomorrow with Tasha and Dan. Please see Elise if you're interested in meeting with them, and it's a great opportunity to follow up and pick their brain and get some feedback on the stuff that you're doing here. But yeah, let's go just through the panel. Please tell everyone where to find you online.
At Champagne Poppy. No, just Transit 22 is my stuff.
I'm Tasha the Amazon at all places, on all the networks.
Probably at the Lytics. I should know this, but I don't. Social media doesn't come natural to me. So, but at the Lytics on Instagram for sure. Facebook.com/the Lytics. Probably the same. Yeah.
Probably the same.
Yeah. At Hellnback on Facebook. At Hellnback on Instagram, and on Snapchat, it's I am Hellnback.
And what about fax?
And my fax number is
204 Helly.
204 Hellnback.
Rachel, did you have one?
I'm gonna get back. The next thing is just gonna be a picture.
Perfect. Let's have a round of applause for our panelists. Also, please complete the surveys and put them in the bin beside the chips. Thank you.